Welcome back to Fresh Faces, New Ideas. My name is David. If you like the channel and want to get more of the videos that I do and the live updates, then please smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, follow me on Twitter at Faces Ideas, and you can listen to me on the Center Left Radio podcast. Now, this video we're going to talk about Florida. I'm going to do another Florida video probably tomorrow as I look into the Publix thing, but this is going to talk about Manatee County. So there is a massive waste. It's not a plant. It's basically they created this waste reservoir because they were producing fertilizer in Manatee County, and they didn't have a dump for the waste. They just never figured out how to get rid of it. And this is not just particularly this company. They just don't have an answer to it. So eventually it built up, and they built up this dam to house all this waste. And apparently on Sunday, the dam started leaking. So there was a state of emergency. So we're going to go look into the story for a little bit. So, let's see. Hundreds of residents in Manatee County were evacuated from the homes as feared that a wastewater pond could collapse at any time. So this was on Sunday is when it was happening. They've been looking at the dam. They thought there might have been a second leak. It turns out it was just a plant. And it was previously emptying into the Piney Point Creek, but said that they finally have figured out by today, they have stopped that. So it's not going into the creek anymore. They're currently pumping water out. The problem is they're pumping water out of this wastewater pond into the Tampa Bay. Now, while this water apparently isn't radioactive, because in the news report, one of the news reports I saw covering it said it is lightly radioactive. The true issue with this is twofold. One is if this dam breaks, it's like an immediate 20-foot wall of water that's just going to obliterate the local area. So they are evacuating people. They haven't cleared all the areas, and they are still pumping it, but it's like millions and millions of gallons, and they're only able to do a couple gallons a day. But the true problem is red tide. So what happens is by pumping this water into from the wastewater plant into the bay, they're increasing the red tide problem. Now, red tide was already a problem under DeSantis anyway. It's harmful red tide events have become more frequent, widespread. And let's see. How red tide form are potentially natural toxins. It is unknown why their toxins are created. Hazardous to large organisms through the process of biomagnification. Okay, so basically, it's poisoning the water supply. The red tide. This will make the poison that's in the water supply, and this was a problem. Like almost a couple of years ago, this was a problem under DeSantis. They were having this issue, and now this is going to make it worse. So, best case scenario is the water is fine, and this doesn't make the red tide worse. At the second best case scenario is it just makes the red tide worse, and it just makes it more poisonous in the area. The worst case scenario is the water is toxic. Actually, that's not true. That's not the worst case scenario. The second worst case scenario is the water is toxic anyway, and it goes into the bay, and that circulates into people. The true worst case scenario is this dam implodes, and all this water goes over everywhere. So the solution to this is just better infrastructure, because this was done by a local company. This was on private property, and they're saying that they should have dealt with this about 20 years ago. That this is okay. So Hopes is, who is he? He's one of the officials. He's acting Manatee County administrator. And his argument is that, this was happening not necessarily the fault of it's on private property. We didn't create the problem, nor are we responsible for solving the problem. Well, you're the government. Your job is to make sure that people don't get sick from this. So, making sure that these companies pay their fair share and make sure that they properly dispose of waste and that this is inspected is ultimately a problem. These are things that need to be solved. So this is something to keep an eye on. Let's go back. So look, this wasn't a big update. The problem is, so originally this story appeared to be there was some type of radiation leak from this pond. Thankfully, that doesn't appear to be the case. The pond doesn't appear to be leaking radiation, or the stuff that they're pumping out doesn't appear to be radioactive. How that works, I don't know. The bigger problem appears to be the threat of the dam collapse, so they're going to have to actually probably rebuild it and figure out how to make sure it doesn't collapse and find a better way of disposing with this waste. And the other problem is the red algae. I don't know how you solve those things. I'm not a marine biologist. I'm not somebody who deals with these things. The dam thing appears to be an infrastructure issue, depending on what your definition of infrastructure is, because apparently that changes whether it's not a road or a pipe or a house. Depends on who you talk to. But hey, I think it's an infrastructure issue. So that's something to keep an eye on. If you like this video and you like what I do, please like and subscribe. I hope you do. And follow me on Twitter @FacesIdeas. Thanks. Have a good time. See you next time.